Also, members of Congress at the border, a delegation looking into conditions at the local detention centers a week after a detainee from Cameroon died in custody.
NBC 7 News at 5 starts now.
On a Friday, good afternoon. Thanks for being here. I'm Mark Mullen.
And I'm Monica Dean. San Ysidro is getting a visit from Congressional Black Caucus leadership today. They're taking to task the president and his immigration policies, citing what they're calling mistreatment and sometimes illegal practices used for African and Caribbean migrants to our region. NBC 7's political reporter Alex Perche is live in San Ysidro, where their hearing just ended. Alex?
Yeah, this actually is the Congressional Black Caucus right next to me. They've concluded today's events and are getting ready to head out for the day. But last month, we reported on the death of a young Cameroonian man. He was 37, by the name of Nebani Abienwe. He was held in the Otay Mesa detention facility and died a few weeks after that. And that's really been the jumping off point for a larger discussion on what the CBC says is much needed immigration reform. Now, earlier this afternoon, San Diego Representative Juan Vargas, joined by leaders of the Congressional Black Caucus, Chairwoman Karen Bass and Congresswoman Barbara Lee, both of California, and then Representative Yvette Clarke of New York. They spent the morning talking with families, many of them of African descent, in Tijuana. Now, the purpose of this field visit was informational, to get a first-hand account of what African and Caribbean asylum seekers face trying to get to the U.S. Then they held a hearing with testimony from Amnesty International, Jewish Family Services, and others about what these communities are experiencing. Now, we often think of English and Spanish as the main language barrier here, but Congresswoman Bass pointed out that many Africans and people from the Caribbean speak French in dialects that simply aren't resourced enough to be processed at the border or even make them aware of their legal rights. He also took to task the metering policy. And that's when Customs and Border Protection puts a cap on the number of people who can request asylum at a port.
We need to pay specific attention to the plight of the immigrants from African countries because they wind up being virtually stateless. There is a process that is very strange. It is not transparent. It's not really clear at all.
Now, ICE sent us a statement regarding that death last month. Says ICE is firmly committed to the health and welfare of all of those in its custody and is undertaking a comprehensive agency-wide review of this incident. As it does in all such cases, fatalities in ICE custody statistically are exceedingly rare and occur at a small fraction of the rate of the U.S. detained population as a whole. Now, earlier today, Congresswoman Bass was asked if she thought the Democrats could pass some sort of comprehensive immigration reform in 2020, and she talked back to or alluded back to the fact that they won the House back in the 2018 midterm, which really kind of shows you that their mindset is very much on the fact that whoever controls the White House will often also control this immigration policy. Reporting from San Ysidro, Alex Perche, NBC 7.
Alex, thanks.